Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristan and Michael, and you are listening to Fuse, transparent conversations for marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss perspectives that are thought about but not talked about. So tell your friends and family to check us out and join us on social media at Fuse Marriages or email us info@fusemarriages.com.
Hey, what's going on with you today?
Man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Today. Actually doing pretty good. I was actually listening to something I shared with you. It has nothing to do with the topic we're going to talk about, but like, when you have a baby, right? You have a newborn, you don't just take the baby out everywhere, right? The baby's kind of, you got only the mom and dad typically are around, and maybe you have some siblings, but very few people end up going around the baby until the baby's kind of like, a little stronger, maybe 6 months, 3 months, People come a little different time frame, maybe different, but like it's a little bit older, right?
Okay.
And it got me to thinking like, you know what? Sometimes like we're in this like transitional phase, right? We're babies and we want to have like to share ourselves with, hey, I got this new thing going on about me. But like we still infants, we're not quite ready to be, shared with just any and everybody. And we have to be careful with, protecting the babies that we are. Could be spiritual baby, could be business baby, could be new idea baby. And just being cautious of saying, hey, you know what, let's wait. Let's let this baby kind of incubate a little bit, get a little stronger. Yeah, we know we're excited, but only share it with the people that are the closest to us that we trust before we go actually come share with everybody else. The little nugget for today.
That's really good. Because I think that's one of my problems historically is I get really excited about an idea and I'm ready to tell somebody about it because I'm like, man, this thing's coming together. I've had this something I'm working on, and then I share it too soon and it's problematic. So that's a good one.
It happens a lot. I'm gonna say, not say new relationships, but I would say in new marriages where people expose themselves too much. I'm saying couples, that is, expose themselves too much to other situational things. And they're still in the process of developing themselves, who they are, what they're about outside of the marriage. Who they are, what they're about, what they're trying to establish, what their boundaries are, what their rules are. Like it takes time to get there, right? It doesn't take time for a baby to grow. So yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, apply that. Write that down somewhere.
Write that down. Okay, so good nugget for our start because one of the things that we're talking about today is truth. And part even with that kind of introduction is sharing what our experiences, what we have experienced as true in our relationship, sharing that outside of our relationship. And as you said, this can apply to your marriage. It can apply to your business or to an idea or your growth or your development. But as it's relating to marriage, our topic today is how do you tell someone the truth?
Yeah, how do you tell someone the truth, right? I mean, I think people have all kind of different ways. I'm just going to give it to them. You know what? I'm going to beat around the bush and I'm going to see if to give them a hint around it. Some people do in between. Some people are like, I'm going to keep it real. They got all these different ways of kind of like telling the truth. And we're going to talk about that, right? Particularly when you're talking about dealing with maybe family, maybe, boyfriend, girlfriend, your husband, wife, or even your kids. How do you tell them the truth?
Well, listen, I think a lot of people that say, I'm going to keep it real, I'm going to give it to them, that I'm going to do that, I'm going to keep it 100, are really just rude.
Okay. It could be very rude. I'm okay with somebody being able to do that. They
can take it because a lot of them can't. That's me.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you can, dish out and take whatever you dishing out, then I'll say, you know what, at least you have the option to say it that way. But most people can't necessarily, the bullies necessarily can't take the beating. They don't want that. So a lot of times, I question, that approach. Most people can't take that raw, I'm going to give it to you. You know what? If your big toe ugly, then I'm going to let your big toe ugly. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, but like, I don't know if people can actually take what they're giving out.
They can't. I don't think so. But I also think that that's a dangerous way to handle yourself in marriage, is to just be like, I'm going to say what I got to say and you're going to deal with it. That's not handling your spouse. In my perspective, that's not handling them properly either way. Like, well, they talk to me crazy, I talk to them crazy. That's just how we do. Like, that's just disrespectful going both ways. Like, just because you both do it doesn't mean like that it should be done. So I look at this conversation as we're talking about truth, I do think that there's a certain way to handle your spouse, but you have to learn and ask questions. How should we handle one another? What works? Because one of the things I have learned is that this seems like it's elementary, but it is something that you kind of have to figure out along the way, is that not everybody responds or communicates in the same way.
That's true.
And that's true from family to family and even from region to region. So I lived quite a while in New York City, and I remember when I first got there, being kind of surprised at how family members would talk to other family members, because in my family, like I said, we're real direct and never kind of thought anything of it. And when I moved there and I saw, I'm like, no, they're really direct. Like we still texting, we still soft and all of that. And I say that because there's no necessarily an issue depending on where you live, how you communicate, if that's how you grew up. If you grew up and, you kind of used to throwing plates against the wall, that's just what you see. That's just what you do. I don't know if that's, ideal. I don't know if that's what you should do, but that's what they grew up seeing. That's what they grew up doing. But when you get married, if your spouse is like, nah, we ain't breaking no plates, you can't be like, well, this is just what I do, and you just gonna have to deal with it. That's not fair to your spouse. So as we are talking about how we deliver truth, you can't just do it in the way that you decided or even in the way that you witnessed to be normal, quote unquote.
No, that's good. That's good. And I guess I have a question for you. Are there times where you shouldn't tell the truth? Oh my God. You got some deep thought going on there.
I think it depends.
Oh,
so
okay,
yes,
okay. So the
I think
answer
that
is
there
yes.
are some times that the truth can be hurtful. I think that there are some times, and that doesn't mean that you don't say it, but then you might have to be more contemplative on the how and the when, the what are the surroundings. Like if somebody asks me a question outright and I know that it's going to be hurtful, I might have to wait and tell them, you know what, you kind of mentioned this earlier, and I think I really wanted to share this with you, but I didn't think that was the right time. Or, I think there's plenty of times where you should not just bust out with the truth, even though it's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I guess I would agree with you. I think there definitely are times, and I'm going to bring the Bible into this, because I think, you're a Bible scholar, maybe y'all out there too, you know what? Rahab didn't tell the truth.
That's what I was thinking in my head, yeah.
She didn't tell the truth, and God used it for good. So it absolutely, if I'm taking that example, if I'm not, blaspheming myself, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there are times that you cannot tell the truth. And sometimes you basically may not say anything than versus saying something.
And I think there's different times where you should not like call out truth. So for example, if I'm on the street and I see somebody that looks hot mess crazy, I don't need to be like, you look like you tripping, like you just look a hot mess. That might be true, but I'm out of order. I don't have any reason to do that. But if somebody's talking to me and they have something in their teeth and I say, you know what, you have something in your teeth, that's true. And I'm in a position where I can say something and it's still kind, loving, and respectful. I think that's kind of the filter. Is it kind? Is it loving? Is it respectful? If it's none of those things, don't say it. And there's so many times and opportunities that we really have to tell the people that we should be telling the truth that we don't, for fear of rejection, because, we don't want to get into it. And we rather just call out random people. I see this all the time on social media. I'll be looking at social media and be like, they don't even know this person. Why would they say anything? Well, they don't know them. They don't know their circumstances. They don't know their family. They don't know their thought process. But you just want to get on there and you just want to type a whole lot of rude stuff to this person just because you have the right.
Internet thugs. That's what I call them.
Yeah. But then in your own life, can't nobody tell you nothing about you. Can't nobody,
Hey, I know somebody like that.
Do you?
Yeah. Wendy Williams.
Oh, Lord, you don't know her, see?
No, I see, man, she the biggest, man, I ain't gonna get off on that, but like, she can't take it.
Yeah.
She talk about everybody else. I'm getting way off top, but I see you brought it up in my mind. But like, I don't see how, she's one to me an example of like, hey, she can dish it. She can't take it. Talk about her husband, what he doing, what they went through, all that kind of stuff. She'd be like, tight lip.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, why we got to talk about that?
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about,
everybody else.
What's that, Tabitha? What's her name?
Tabitha Brown
And her husband, how she gonna retire him, this, that, and the other, which would be a whole topic on itself. Is
Go
like,
girl.
Is that okay for a woman to retire her man?
Go, girl.
Is that okay? Some people may
I'm buying you out.
But they may feel, some people out there like maybe feel like Wendy Williams, like, okay, no, don't do no man. Like the man supposed to be, like treat you. And that's what Wendy Williams was saying. But like, anyway.
We're going to do a show on that. Okay. Talking kind of like who does what. Provider roles and such.
Absolutely.
But on that note, I have a problem when people have no problem telling other people the truth, quote unquote, but you can't tell them anything and they can't receive anything between their ears and what's going on in their lives. And they're not even dealing with their own interpersonal relationships. I know somebody like that will not even deal with what's going on in their world, but they will call out everything else and everybody else's.
Life like that. That's true. I've seen that. I got a few examples at least scenarios I want to throw at you if truth is okay to be withheld or not being told. Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's say you dating somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have kids.
Okay.
But you really don't like their kids. Okay to say that? Tell the truth that you don't like their kids?
Ooh. Mm-mm.
It is or is not. It is okay or is not okay. Should you tell them? Like, you know what? I'm not really feeling your kids.
No.
No, which one? No, what's a no to?
You can't date somebody and not like their kids.
I know you can't, but should you tell them that, hey, you know what? I can date you, but I really don't like your kids that much.
No, you need to walk away. You just need to say, man, I really liked him.
So leave it alone.
You know what? I don't think that this is going to work long term.
Okay.
And just walk away. You don't have to be like, I like you, but I can't stand your kids. That's a jab.
Okay.
That lasts longer even after you're gone.
Okay.
That hurts.
I like that.
No.
Okay, let's say you dating somebody, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to use dating because it's kind of like, I don't want to use marriage because it's kind of a little more, structured. But let's say you're dating somebody and like, you know what? They really don't dress up to par to certain scenarios or situations where y'all going. Mm-hmm. They kind of like, you know what? Y'all going out somewhere nice. They put on cutoff jeans and flip-flops. You know what I mean? You go to, you may go to church, supposed to be like, kind of listen a little bit, but they want to, put their basketball jersey on and this, that. And I mean, which is not a problem. You can go to church anyhow you want to go, but I'm just saying, but like certain situations, they may dress down or, you know what, you got a woman that, she don't wear no makeup, don't do her hair. She may comb it, but she just don't do it, don't put no makeup. But, should you tell her the truth? Tell him the truth or not?
Okay. I think there's two answers to that.
Okay.
Number one, I think that you know what they were when you got them. So if this is your girlfriend or your boyfriend and all the time they wearing basketball shorts and sneakers, that's just what they do. Okay. That's just, I don't think that it is fair for you to be like, you need to do this and da-da-da-da-da. Also, but in addition, I think that you can help progressively upgrade, quote unquote, to the things that you like. Like you might really be feeling this person. And there's ways like, babe, man, you look so nice in a suit. Oh, I love when you get dressed up. You buy them certain things. Hey, why don't you try this on? Okay. I really like to see that in you. So I think that there are ways to kind of push people in a direction. Now that might not be fundamentally who they are and what they do, but every now and then they might kind of throw that shirt on that you got them because they know that you think that they look sexy in it. Or every now and then she might put on a little lip gloss and some mascara because you like that. Mm-hmm. Not all the time because that's not just who they are at base level. But then you can start talking to them, hey, this is a really formal affair. Yeah. I'd really like if you put on some slacks and a button down. Or on this week, we have this big meeting. It would be great if you could put on some khakis and a polo or whatever the conversation is. But I think that there are ways to urge people into doing certain things without changing that person. Because if your person hoops, they gonna wear hoop clothes. If you're a chick, if she always dress up everywhere she goes and you just kind of want her to chill, she always dress up. Even when she chills, she gonna have on some sparkly flip-flops. That's just who she is. So I don't think that you can really change that core fundamental of a person, but you can urge them to expand their personal style. Okay.
Last one. This is a married one here.
Okay.
So let's say you married to somebody and you don't like their in-laws or you don't like your in-laws rather. Should you tell them the truth? I don't really like them like that. Or you know what? I just kind of roll with it, rock with it. Which one you gotta do? Which one?
Okay.
Which one should you do?
I think
go ahead.
That you tell the truth in bite-sized pieces. So you don't have to be like, man, I'm not feeling them. I don't like them. I don't want to go over there. Maybe you'd be like, sometimes I go over there. I'm a little uncomfortable with, it's just always so loud. Or
that's a lot, but go ahead. It may not be loud, but go ahead. You saying
or whatever the situation is. Hey, like I'm saying, you don't like them because maybe they're loud. I'm not saying just lie. I'm saying
you don't like them, and you don't feel them. They ain't nothing to do with no external nothing. Just I don't like them.
I don't think you should say that. I don't think that's right. Yeah, I think that's an extension of the person. That's why I said in bite-sized pieces. Be like, sometimes I go over there, I'm a little uncomfortable, or I don't get the vibe that they really feeling me, or maybe we just haven't had a lot of time to connect yet. I don't really know them. Maybe I can find something that we can do together. Your dad seems to really like fishing. Would that be something maybe we do like on a family event? Or why don't we have them over to our place? Sometimes going over there, I feel a little strange being in their environment. I think there's different ways to communicate. Like, I don't think it's right to just be like, your people are this, I don't like this. I think any conversation about the extension of who a person is kind of touchy territory. But I don't think that it's wrong to be like, man, listen, I need a break from your mom. Or I need it gets challenging. I need to maybe not this Thanksgiving. Can we forego this weekend? We get together on the weekend. Can we give it a little bit of time and space? I think that that's okay, but I don't think you can just be like, I don't like them. I think try to find at least a couple positive things, even if it doesn't mean like, man, I don't feel right being over there all the time. I think that's okay. What do you think? You think just tell them straight out? No,
I'm getting your side. I mean, we can talk about another side of the break, but yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying though.
I don't know. Your face.
No, I agree.
I know what your lips are saying, but your face is like,
yeah. No, it's good.
All right. So we want to hear from y'all on this one. Know what your thoughts are. When is it right to tell the truth in your marriage? We have a couple scenarios thrown out there. I know you guys have thoughts and opinions, so let us know. info@fusedmarriages.com for email, or you can always comment on our social media. All of our handles at Fused Marriages. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to rejoin this conversation. Hey, y'all, we just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for listening. We appreciate your support. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe, follow us on all social media. And we have this thing that we want you to check out, fusedradio.com. There are other broadcasters that you will hear from. You're really going to love it. So thank you. You all are so wonderful. And we look forward to connecting with you more in the future. All right, so today we are talking about truth, how and when you should tell the truth to your partner, to your friends, to your children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we just kind of dialogued a little bit about how that is affected in your marriage with a couple scenarios. Yeah. And I was asking you, where do you fall in this, telling people the truth, how and when?
I think I'm probably like not direct and less of a truth teller than maybe some people. So I may withhold a lot of the truth, but I think there are definitely times where you have to, like, of course, hey, this is what's going on. This is how I feel about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that has to be done in a way that like a person can receive. I think you kind of touched on that. I think a lot of relationships are either made or broken based off of how you tell them the truth. You know what I mean? Because like ultimately, like, there's a lot of things we're not going to agree on. We're not going to see things the same. We're not going to have the same circle of friends agree what's, whatever's going on in politics, whatever that is, right? And like, I think and how we approach the truth is really how we define how we're going to have a relationship with that person.
Wow, that's good. I can agree with that. I think it is important, but I think that there is a certain innate danger with not telling the truth, with keeping your lips sealed, because there are so many times within the context of any relationship where you're going to have to tell the person the truth. You're going to have to say, that hurt my feelings. Yeah. That offended me. When you did this or when you said this, from both sides of the table, from the husband and the wife. The husband might be less prone to say that hurt my feelings than the wife, potentially, possibly. Right. But I think it's really critical for the sake of the marriage to have truth-telling conversations and to be free to do that without repercussions, without this being like, I'm not going to say anything because she's going to flip out. If I say it, it's going to be an argument, so I'm just going to keep my mouth closed. I think that is the bedrock for a really dangerous relationship when you don't feel that you're free to articulate your feelings. And we're talking about some deep stuff. We're not just talking about like, do you like my new shoes? Like there are some things in you, you know what? I'm noticing this about you, and I've seen this habit in your dad. I saw this in your grandfather. Is this something that you've observed? Because that's something that I'm witnessing. That's a truth-telling statement where you're calling the person on the carpet and you're saying, this isn't working. This is something that I'm challenged by. Too often, we have these truth-telling conversations at the divorce table where it's, you know what, you did this and that. I'm like, wait,
too late,
you never said that. You never told me that. And we even do that with our kids. It's like, we're telling you the truth upon punishment. We saying, you know what, there's no open door to say, hey, this is my honest experience, particularly with teenagers, like saying like, how do you feel? I know you took our 14-year-old out and you asked her just a couple questions just about, hey, you could say whatever you want. You know, let me know what your thoughts are. And just asking questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about this aspect of your life? What do you think about these people in our world? How are you responding to this? And giving them the freedom at a young age to talk. I know I sit down with our 5-year-old and I say, what are you thinking about? Tell me what's on your mind. And she's 5, but I'm trying to teach the principle of being willing to communicate what it is that you feel or think or are doing, because so often as we get older, we have these kind of societal things that are put on us that keep us from telling the truth, that keep us like, I can't say anything because they're going to look at me strange, or I can't say anything because there are going to be certain consequences in this relationship. And we bring that into our marriage. And as I was just saying, I think that that's a scary place to be when the person that's your best friend, the person that you're committed to for a lifelong relationship, you can't even tell them the truth. Then who can you tell?
Yeah, I mean, just being honest with somebody that you love, that you claim you love and you committed to, like, I think those relationships end up lasting the longest, right? And hopefully the longest being to the end of time, right? Till something happens to them. Well, that's kind of morbid. But anyway, like, they end up lasting until, right? Being able to say, you know what, this is how I feel. And they mastered the way of telling the truth to that person. Because like you said, I think you mentioned you can't tell it the same to every person.
Right.
You know what I mean? How I tell the truth to my sister may be different. I tell it to you. How you tell it to your mom may be different. You tell it to me. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like really mastering, mastered rather, to say, hey, you know what? Hey, Tristan, this is how I feel. This is what's making me, feel a certain way. And I want to get it addressed. Versus, somebody may be more direct, somebody may be more passive, but like, what is that balance? And it takes time to kind of figure that out with your partner.
It takes a lot of experimentation. Yeah. So even in the context of marriage, and this is why when you say I do, this is why we do premarital, because you want to say, hey, I'm willing to grow with you. That's what you're saying I do to. Better or worse, sick or poor, like all of that, those are your vows. But you're saying, hey, I'm committed to growing a lifetime with you, whatever that looks like. In spite of sickness, in spite of poverty, in spite of these negatives or these ups, I'm still willing to grow with you, because I can rub you the wrong way by doing it the wrong way. Yep. I can say, like, you don't feel like you can tell me the truth because of how I responded that one time. And if you say, I'm never doing it again, the relationship is to its demise. It's going to end. If you say, man, that one time I said it to Tristan, she tripped, so I'm not saying anything. That means that that's a closed door. And you can only have so many closed doors in your relationship. You really shouldn't have any. But every time that you close a door, you're just walking down this long hall on your exit. This is, hey, I can't go in that room because she's going to do this. I can't go in that room because he's going to act that way. So there are all these rooms in this house of your marriage that you're not allowed to enter because of how your spouse is going to respond. But if you say, we're in this forever, if you say that this is what we're going to do until, then that door might shut. I'm going to open it up. I got a key. Look, we can't have closed doors in our relationship. I didn't go about that the right way. Yeah. I probably should have said it this way. Can we change? Can we adjust? Would you forgive me? How do we go about it next time to be better? Then that door remains open and we don't have this long haul to the exit. You know what I'm saying? So then I know I told them the truth. And I said it the wrong way. My tone was wrong. My timing was wrong. I shouldn't have said it that was a trigger for them. I didn't know that. Maybe I should do it this way next time. Let me try again. Because marriage is a series of just trying again. That's what marriage is.
That's
I'm
going
to get up. I'm going to try it again. Yesterday was a bad day. I'm going to try it again. We had a really big falling out. I'm going to try it again. We didn't come together on this thing. I'm going to try it again. Or, man, we making it happen. We doing what it do. I'm going to try that again. So marriage is this series of I'm going to try it again. And in telling the truth, that's part of it. Learning how your spouse gives and receives information over and over and over again for the rest of your life, because there are so many different things we have to talk about. We have to talk about kids and in-laws and holidays and vacation and finances and, you know, and so on and so on and so on. And that's what you want to do with your best friend. That's why you can't marry anybody because they fine, because that's okay. Like, hopefully in your eyes, they stay fine forever, but that's not enough. That's not enough. This has to be like, this is my dude. This is my girl. Like, we going in, we talk about whatever. We talking about everything from sports to religion. We talking about everything from what we cooking in the kitchen to how our, you know, child is doing in school. We talking about all that stuff because this is my best friend. This is the person I want to connect to the most. Yeah. And this is the person I can tell the real gully truth to and know that they got me.
No, I think you hit on a lot of great things. And it's like, to be able to master the idea of telling the truth between different circles. Because sometimes, you know what, you got to go in the world, you're a businessman, businesswoman, you got to act a certain way or deal with family act a certain way. When you come home, you can't, it's different.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes people want to like mesh them all together and like, you know, and say they truth how they say it to everybody else. Right. We had a situation where, you know, we you know, something that happened, it transpired, you know, not between us, but we were doing something and somebody didn't agree with it. And they were like, you know what? Y'all stupid for doing that. It was their truth for their moment and this, that, and the other. And we were like, huh, how you say that? I can say it to like, I mean, but you don't know both of us like that to be able to say that. But to me, that's just an issue with they're used to having to use that kind of language and talking and telling the truth in certain circles, and they want to carry it over to in everybody. Yeah. It don't work like that.
Yeah.
To be able to master that, I think, is key, so that when you come home or deal with your other personal relationships or your kids, it's just, you know what, we got to be able to shift.
Yeah. And it shows a great deal of wisdom if you're able to know the truth and know how to communicate it. That's a skill. To know the truth and know how to communicate it, to be that much of a chameleon where you can see it in different situations. You can see it at work or with kids or with spouse or with friends or with family, and know, how do I address this so that I'm not just talking, so that they are receiving what it is that I'm seeing. How do I do that? Because you can't talk to, you know, your father-in-law and your mom and your daughter and, you know, your best friend the same way. You shouldn't
work like that.
That's not wise.
No, it don't work.
So how do we do it? That's the question of the day. That's what we're talking about. And we want to make sure that, particularly in our marriages, that we are doing a great job telling the truth to our spouse. So we want to hear from you. Thank you for joining us in this conversation, and make sure that you connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website for more content and resources, fusemarriages.com. Let's talk about it.
You're listening to Fused with Tristan and Michael.